Okay, 1a asks if the particle is moving up or down at time t equals 1.5. The problem gives us the formula for v of t, so the only thing you have to do is plug in the value. So v of 1.5, and when you plug in the value, and it's a calculator active question, so once you times 1.5 by sine 2.25, which is 1.5 squared, you're going to get 1.16711. And we can conclude that the particle is moving up at time t equals 1.5 because v of t is greater than 0. So now let's move on. Find the acceleration of the particle at time t equals 1. A of t is equal to v prime of t, which is you have to derive v of t, and so you see this value, this function, so what you got to do is use the product rule. And so if you do so, a of t becomes 1 times sine t squared plus t times cosine t squared times 2t because of the chain rule. Let's just simplify this so that we can avoid any calculation mistakes. So if you do so, sine t squared plus 2t squared times cosine t squared. So if you plug in that into your calculator, sine 225 plus 2 times 2.25, and multiply that by cosine 2.25, you're going to get minus negative 2.04871. And you can conclude that the velocity of the particle is not increasing at time t equals 1.5 because a of t is smaller than 0. So now let's move on to C. It says given that y of t is the position of the particle at time t and that y0 is equal to 3, find y of 2. So then what you got to do is that say v of t equals y prime t, because it says so. And now you can say that from 0 to 2, because you have to value y of 2, v of t dt is equal to y2 minus y0. Then we got to solve for y2, so you can just move this around over here, and so then you're going to get y0 plus, this is what you're going to get. And so the problem tells you that y0 is equal to 3, so then you can just say 3 plus this value. So what you're going to do right now is use the calculator and get the definite integral. So use the calculator and say tx times sine x squared x0 2 and now we're waiting here for the calculator to calculate. It says this value is equal to 0.826822. And so 3 plus 0.826822 is going to be 3.82682. So this is the position of the particle at time. Oh, this is y of 2. So now we can move on to D. It says to get the total distance traveled by the particle from time t 0 to 2, and you always have to remember that the formula you use when you're getting the total distance is integral absolute value of vt dt, because it says total distance, so you have to use an absolute value. So if you do this and say integral and absolute x times sine x squared oh, and you also have to say that it goes from 0 to 2. Let's wait for the calculator to get the value. So just in case you're curious, we use x instead of t because it's just easier to plug in x over here. And so we are doing that. And the calculator says that it's 1.173. And so here goes the total distance, and we showed all the how to work out these problems. So here we go. This is it.